face in 2020 or nowadays. So like things like disunity, the rise of information and the rise of like not the rise of atheism or like all these different types of whatever, the rise of I don't want to say liberalism, but like liberalism and how that can often butt heads with traditional religion, not just Islam, just religion in that, and things branched off that. What do you think of that?
No, it's fair. I think
I haven't had some Quran and that. I looked it up. I did some Googles today. Obviously, my
no,
one late.
no, go ahead. I think.
Are we waiting for the law? We just jumping.
No, I'm just jumping in, man.
Just jumping in.
Yeah,
Alright, cool.
I think without stepping on too many toes, we're also in an age of inclusivity,
Yes.
where everything has to be for everybody and everybody has to accept everybody's lifestyle, whether that be gender, sexuality, blah blah, and etc. And we have to accept it, and if we don't, then we get crucified for it.
But the thing is, do we have to? I don't think that's true.
We don't have to. No. When I say we have to, we don't have to. But it's just like you can't speak out against it. That's what I mean. You can't come on the internet and say I don't agree with X, Y, and Z without getting corned for it. That's what I mean by we have to accept it. We don't have to accept it, no, because if I don't agree with it, then I don't agree with it, innit? But it's just that I can't freely say that without catching corn. That's what I mean.
Do you think though that it's maybe, I feel like sometimes it's like certain people, would they make it seem now what's portrayed is that everybody can't just say whatever they want and everybody has to be inclusive of everybody. But I think it's like certain people can't say certain things and certain people have to be included, or when it comes to inclusivity, it has to impact on certain people.
What do you mean?
So for example, like just to give a really basic example before I develop it, as black people, we're allowed to say things about black people on the internet, on Twitter. Obviously, people get corned from it, but within a certain, that's like you can't talk about dark skin and that, but you know what I mean. And then, but like, Piers Morgan is not allowed to, for example. Okay. And then when it comes to inclusivity, so we're meant to respect all people's opinions and walks of life or whatever. But then there are some ways of living that are literally kind of repulsive to others, but then based on a standard that's been written by just somebody, it means that certain things are more acceptable than others. So for example, like I always give this example as well, I'm and I feel like I say this, but I'll do a disclaimer anyway. I am in no way a homophobic person in it. I actually believe I'm really not. Like, I don't have any dislike for gay people or anything like that. Yeah. I'm not gonna say something. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do
It's not
nothing.
even. It's just that whole concept of homophobia. I feel like, by definition. Yeah. This is gonna sound mad. But bear with me.
Let me get the beep ready.
Yeah. by definition, yes, we are homophobic.
What, Muslims?
Yes.
I don't think we are.
By definition.
I don't think we are.
What's because the definition of homophobia is you dislike or you show prejudice towards
a gay person.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think I have a problem with the people. It's the actions, isn't it?
It's not about having a problem with it. It's disliking or showing prejudice. So you mightn't not dislike them, but you show prejudice by. So for example, you don't have a problem with gay people, but you wouldn't want your child to be gay.
Yeah.
That's
but that's not because of look. My issue with gay people, or not. So whoa, whoa there. I hate them. No, I'm joking. My issue with homophobia comes from obviously for me the fundamental or lack of agreement with the permissibility of gay sex. Not gay being a gay person, because I've got, like, for example, I've had friends. I have a friend, for example, who is, what's the word? Camp. You know that word, camp. He's not gay.
Okay, but he acts
obviously, to my knowledge, but and that has not impacted our friendship in any way. And for a lot of people, I know it would, but for me, it's even a reason to keep them closer. Like the actual, like, and that's why I get annoyed. A lot of the time, I get annoyed about Muslims when they overhype the gay thing, or the gay thing, like or the homophobia thing, or the anti-gay thing. Is because it's like when you boil it down, or boil a lot of it down, a lot of the issue, the main issue with if you're going to say what the angel on the left shoulder is going to be writing down, that's the wrong thing. The main wrong thing is going to be the fact that if he gets to that stage, he's going to be having non-marital sex in the anus,
because
which is haram, with a man, which is obviously haram as well.
Yeah.
So
from what I've heard,
a lot of men are doing similar things that are straight.
Yeah.
They're having non-marital sex.
Yeah.
In the bum, like, do you know what I mean? And I'm kidding. I have to put an R-rated one on this one. Yeah, but do you know what I mean? And it's like, but the energy, like, you don't hear man calling out. So it's like, come on, man.
Because from what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but being homosexual doesn't actually take you out of the fold of Islam. No. It's acting on it.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, but that, I think I've actually been thinking about that a lot lately, and whether we can actually say that.
Thinking about what?
No, I'm talking. I'm talking about my previous point about
your previous boy,
about us. This guy about us being homophobic.
Yeah,
because like I said, it's not, because I think when people hear the word homophobia nowadays, it's just like, oh, you hate gay people, but that's not actually what it means. Being homophobic doesn't mean that you hate gay people. It just means that you either maybe dislike and. No, but I think what you said makes sense about the permissibility of the sex part of it, and you not actually disliking or showing prejudice towards that person. But wouldn't you agree that maybe if you don't want that for your children, does that not count as showing prejudice?
Okay, if it counts as showing prejudice, that shows showing prejudice, then cool, innit? But then it's like, I don't think if and I've spoken to gay people as well about this. Not a lot, and I'm sure their opinions will vary, and I'm sure the small sample size don't speak for all of them. But like, I think if you're a level-headed person, I think if I speak to you and say that I don't have a problem with you, but based on my core sets of beliefs, I don't believe in, I don't believe that these things are appropriate for this reason, the reasons I gave before, the sex thing. Same way I would have an issue if it was a man doing that with a woman in those aspects. Obviously, there's more to it. There's more levels to it, obviously. But within these core, these are the main red flags here. Then I don't see, or obviously, where we will disagree is in disagreeing with Islam and not. And then that is not obviously it's a problem, but that's not a problem in everyday life, because we're used to living with people that don't agree or don't ascribe,
like you said,
prescribe to Islam.
Well, like you said, it's if you're level-headed, and that's a big if nowadays. Yeah. That's a massive if, especially with that kind of group of people. I feel like that's a big if. But because a lot of the time it's like they're looking to be offended.
But do you know why? Like, if so, like, playing devil's advocate, why I would sympathize with that though?
Yeah,
would be in that. And this is why I guess a lot of the time, and this is why I understand. Like, I understand why you're not allowed to speak out against gay people and stuff like that. But or gayness, or homosexuality. But what I disagree with is the lack of consistency with the energy in society. So I understand why you're not allowed to say suffer. So let's say like what Wiley did. Yeah, I understand why you're not allowed to do that. Even if you're not saying I hate Jews, for example. When you say certain things, do you know once you put your words out there, there's a lot of people that can take your words and use them and motivate them to take it elsewhere. So there's a lot of people, for example, that you just say the word gay, just say the word gay, then bare people will just take it left and they'll just start saying all types of madness, and people might even act and start doing all types of madness. But like, what's basically a lot of what Hitler did is he starts just speaking. He spoke out against the Jews. The Jews are the reason for this. Jews are the reason for this. Jews are the reason for this. And before he even started arresting them, there's people in the streets that were throwing bricks in their windows and boycotting their businesses, because when you just say something, it just incites it motivates the people to do a madness, innit? So What was my point again? Yeah, so the reason I think man's coming in. Yeah, assalamualaikum. What's it called? Let me just continue this point, yeah, so I don't forget. Yeah, so the reason I think what was my original point? I get distracted so easily. Yeah, so the reason I think that it level-headed. The reason I think is it may not be people being not level-headed when they're saying,
you're saying you sympathize with them.
Yeah, it's because that can lead to madness in it. So simple outcries or cries of disagreement or saying this it might seem innocent at first, but then it can lead, and this is applicable to all communities. It can lead to
what? Just keep it same level.
Yeah, it can lead to bigger issues further down the line. Innit? Yeah. But with bringing it back to like Islam and or our community, I feel like because obviously Islam's been kind of weaponized and seen as a weapon.
No, go on.
Islam's been weaponized and seen as a plague on the community, and obviously we're evil and terrorists and blah blah blah. Because of all of that, it means that I think the threshold is a lot lower.
The threshold
so the threshold is a lot higher for what constitutes as being too far. You can't say that.
I was gonna say that as well.
Yeah.
Because of just maybe numbers in general. Because maybe I guess that's a smaller community. They feel like they have to protect themselves a lot more fiercely than Muslims have to. Because I was gonna say, on the flip side, you're saying all of this stuff about how actions can lead to people doing the madness, but you can go online and find a bunch of stuff that people say about Muslims in the same light. But then, like I said again, playing devil's advocate, maybe it's a more protected community because there's less of them. So they feel like they have to, again, defend themselves a lot more fiercely than Muslims have to, if you get what I'm saying.
And I think as well was that just basically with Muslims, when it comes to defending ourselves, I don't think and this is rightly or wrong, or obviously it's wrong, but whatever, we're not in like society or the powers that be don't empower us to defend ourselves.
To be honest, I think the internet is the wrong place to be doing it anyway.
No, not just the internet. For example, like when there's no, let's say look at Pride. So like in the last couple years,
what are we discussing?
Started off talking about the overall topic is like the struggles or the challenges facing Muslims or our community in 2020 nowadays in modern Britain. And then the first thing we spoke about, what was this topic? Is about what is this?
Inclusivity.
Yeah, inclusivity.
Sexuality, gender.
Basically, how inclusivity and the fact that everybody has to be included. You can't be offensive to anybody. What challenge does that have on? How does that impact Muslims in modern society? So like now we're just talking about how. The fact that nowadays you can't say anything that may look like it offends anybody, whereas if we bring it to Muslims, the energy might not be the same. That's basically the overall. The energy isn't the same. That's the kind of overarching topic. And then what I was just saying now is that if you look at something like Pride, that has become a major thing, isn't it?
Movement, yeah.
Yeah, major like. If you they started painting zebra crossings as rainbows. Everybody at work has the multicolored lanyard and football. And at the core of it, like the idea of we shouldn't kill people or be evil to people because they are gay. At the core of that, that's fine, innit? But then what it's not an issue. But what the issue is that the same energy or the same kind of support from the powers that be or the government or whatever for Muslims to be able to defend themselves and say you shouldn't be horrible to us, we should be allowed to practice our religion, blah blah blah, free. Just the same way you say everybody else should be able to freely do this. It's not really the same, because if you start doing fundamental like proper Islam talks or being Muslim, just like outwardly praying wearing I remember one brother I know that used to work in my workplace. He used to wear like a faux but like a half length one, like instead of a shirt in it, and you could tell people just thought, what is, like, you could tell just immediately something like that put him at
people
moving shifty around him. So just stuff like that. Just the energy is not the same.
I don't know.
There's reasons for that. We can go into that.
The reasons for what? Why there's not the same energy?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, obviously the most basic one is obviously the way that what modern day what they call terrorism or Islamic terrorism or whatever. That's just the first one, because Muslims are just seen as a threat to society. Islam is seen as a threat to society and Muslims. That's the first obvious one.
Yeah, this has been happening.
Yeah, and that's just obviously the media.
One man stabs a cat is a terrorist act if he's a Muslim, but if a man goes and shoots up a church or shoots up a crowd or runs in a place with a machete is a lone soldier kind of thing. It was an incident.
And whenever
we've known this is how the media. This is how a lot of it is to do with the media as well. This has been happening. It's not a surprise.
And whenever they do you know, have you know, whenever there's something mad happens, so let's say it's like a non-Muslim person, like I think whenever there's a big incident, the first thing, and you can tell everybody's thinking, first thing is let's see a picture. Oh,
a picture or a name.
Yeah, or a picture or a name. Or is it going to be an Arab? Is it going to be all black? Or is it going to be just some regular guy? Yeah. Oh, it's not. Okay. Oh, so next thing.
Necessarily a black thing.
No, it's not a black thing.
Even in the Tesco adverts and stuff, when they're doing the Muslim campaigns and stuff,
no, it's not a black thing.
They always put brown people.
It's not a black thing. It's more of a. It's like, is it gonna?
If it's an Arab or a black person.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And then the next one, obviously the name, and then the next one is, are they gonna declare it? It's like, I feel like they're really proud of themselves, or the media acts like really proud of themselves when a non or what doesn't appear to be a Muslim has done something, and then they label it a terrorist act, and I feel like they're almost saying, see, like.
But see the black
wait, we're not only saying Muslims are terrorists. Yeah,
the black thing, I think is gonna get there though. Anybody that's black with a beard is eventually gonna get there to the point where they're gonna put in the same level as a brown person. As the typical. But
I feel like with black people
it's where the name comes in.
Yeah, there's the name in it, and there's different types.
Name that's automatic. Anyway,
and with black, you can tell there's like a dip, because I don't know. I feel like I
think ever since the Woolwich incident.
But even that one, because did that guy have a beard? He didn't, did he?
I don't know. I can't remember.
He didn't, did he?
But regardless of where he had a beard or not, it's gonna get there eventually. It's not there yet because I don't think enough incidents have occurred to the point where it was black reverts, so called, that were the perpetrators or that were the antagonists.
I think with the black, the black thing is like, I feel like with the blacks it's almost like a different. I think when people see blacks, they think of think of black, like the media. When the media portrays black, they portray black as gang,
gangbangers.
Black is gang.
Yeah.
Arab looking is terrorist.
Yeah.
And then normally, I guess they
have
a look of, do you know that for the typical child abuser, paedophile type. There's even a look for that. There's just a look. Like, it'll be that kind of.
I remember. I was just going to say something on that. I read something literally the other day. Because I just remembered. I was going to say it like 2 minutes ago. How I think it showed a picture of Tommy Robinson and and some statistics that showed that let me not say that, but there was a white grooming gang and they did a madness. And it showed the stats of perpetrators who were paedophiles, or the statistics on how many paedophiles there were that were white compared to those who were brown or whatever. And yet you have a lot of Caucasian people speaking with their chest saying, because they always come to this one, they always mention, what was it, Rotherham? Was it Rotherham, the infamous one? Where there was a Rotherham case of Asian people. Yeah, they always bring this up. Every time you see in the comments, these Muslims being paedophiles. I don't even want to say it. Something about the Prophet and Aisha radiallahu anha.
Yeah.
They always come to that. That's like their go-to. And I read that the other day, and it was just like, wow, this is ironic. You know when you watch the on YouTube, you watch it and it plays the I can't remember the ironic the curb music.
Boom, 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 boom.
No, it's like the. I'm not gonna do it, but anyway, go back to it. Go back to what you're saying.
Oh, yeah,
who
was talking? Was it me?
Yes, it was you.
That was me. Yeah, so like, yeah, just inclusivity in general. It's like I think it's my original point was that it's only for certain people, for certain group. It's who's deemed for, so it's for the protected groups, innit? And the protected groups are the LGBTQ people,
these protected groups. There's a new one every day.
But then it's like
there's a new one every day. It's so difficult to keep up. I can't lie. Like, I'm sorry if I sound ignorant, but it's so difficult to keep up. I was watching a video the other day of this girl was saying that her sexuality can change by the hour.
Okay. Fluid. Was gender.
I don't remember what she used to describe it, and then she was like, instead of explaining it to people, she will wear an armband that will tell you what her gender or sexuality is and what pronouns she prefers. We should all memorize the colors of these armbands and what they mean. So if it's blue, she's a boy. If it's pink, she's a girl. And she can even and there was a different color for a different gender, and then she can mix the three of them, and it's just like rough. Do you know what's annoying? It's that. This is what I was saying, bruv. This is what I was saying in the previous episode. It's just like, fam, you can live the way you want to live, but why do I have to accept it?
Keep it over there.
How can you ask me and tell me I have to memorize your genders? What does that have to do?
But the thing is, people will say to that though. Oh yeah, but why should we have prayer rooms in public buildings and stuff like that?
Right. And not only that, how is a prayer room? The same as you asking me to memorize your genders and your pronouns?
100%.
How is that the same thing? Because the prayer room, the alternative to not having a prayer room is that I'm gonna pray in a public place and you're not gonna like that either. So if I have a prayer room, I can do it in a place where you can't see me, and that way, if you want to be offended, you're not offended because you can't see me.
There's another thing as well I've noticed over the years. Whenever they do these campaigns for race and Black Lives Matter, Muslims, any group that has been oppressed, that usually faces oppression, they always do it on the same campaign or same banner as this LGBT stuff. And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but I'd rather they separate the thing or not do it at all.
It's like the All Lives Matter thing.
Because I don't want to...
Yeah,
LGBT cannot be put on the same pedestal, not even more of a pedestal than... I don't get it.
That happened recently.
My mind's scrambled.
That happened recently after...
It's not recently, it happens all the time.
But I noticed it recently after George Floyd and when Black Lives Matter came to power again, and then after that, a couple of weeks after that, I started seeing Black trans lives matter as well. And my problem with that was I just thought, when did the two become mutually exclusive? Do you know what I mean? When did Black trans people not fall under Black people as well? Why is that a separate group, and why does that need its separate hashtag?
Yeah, but they'll say that because within Black people
there's prejudice to trans. Yeah.
But the thing is that then there's two things. Firstly, it's like sometimes people don't read the room. Like people don't like. It's not literally. It's not every battle
you have to fight.
In every moment.
Yeah.
Because what you do is that you dilute the actual cause, and that's why the whole All Lives Matter thing is stupid. And the people that say All Lives Matter, you're a waste man, because that's what you're doing is you're trying to passively dilute Black Lives Matter. Which is whatever. And
Black Lives Matter, or you have All Lives Matter, and you have Blue Lives Matter.
And like, so taking it back to the whole what's it? Yeah, what some, you know, when you said oh, why should I put a prayer in, blah blah blah, and why should we memorize it? I guess what they'll say is, oh yeah, but we should all be like, we're making a strive to include and be tolerant of whatever your strive is, or whatever you people do. So let's say Muslims, we're making an effort to accept the fact that you pray, so you should make an effort to accept the fact that but it's like, what annoys me about this year, and this is the thing that nobody I think wants to say here, or that the inclusivity thing fails to recognize, and it's that the concept of natural and certain things just being the way they are and fine
has gone out the window.
Is so, for example, the concept of man and woman, like, you know, they're actually trying to destroy the concept of man and woman.
Yeah.
But thing is, like, even take religion out of it. Scientifically, you know, like, for life, and I know the scientists will tell me you can make a grow a baby and whatever, but forget that. For life, man, woman
is necessary.
That's just it is what it is, isn't it? For, like, there are two types of, if you like, the way biologically there are two, male and female, there are two types of reproductive systems. There are two types of hormonal systems.
It's mad that
someone will tell you, someone will answer that and tell you that you can have, there's cases where there's been half and half though. So
yeah, but the thing is, but how many?
But it's mad that
what do you, when in science, when you have, like, why do you think you have the 0.05 is the statistically significant 95%? If 95% of something occurs in a certain way, then that is then scientifically you can conclude that as that is, and the 5% are non-statistically significant outliers. So if there is, unless you're going to tell me that more than 5% of people that are born and grown up aren't a boy or a girl, like, conclusively, then allow it. And even Islam has something for that. I don't know if you know, it's a hadith, it's a long hadith, and I'm gonna just paraphrase it, but it might not even be a hadith, but anyway, that the way that you distinguish is, or the way that was distinguished, and it may have been, I can't remember, but basically, where do you urinate from? That's your answer. So that's even Islam has a thing for that, innit? So it's not like the concept of people being I don't know if hermaphrodite is the right word, I don't want to say it, but anyway, but like people being, you know, both.
Yeah,
these humans are fickle, man.
Yeah, the concept of people being both it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing, innit? It's a thing that's been there. So like, allow it, innit? So, like, you know, like, even stuff like, a Mrs. attending midwife might not be able to be called midwife anymore. Oh my days! Like, you know, stuff like that. It's like, are you so pressed?
Is she gonna be mid-husband?
Like, so for example, if you are a person that is fluid, so see this person with your armbands or whatever, that's good for you, yeah. But what you need to accept is that you are an anomaly and you are not the norm. So you are somebody and it doesn't mean that you're less of a person, it means that you have to. It's like, if I'm born, for example, like, if you're born as a little person, you're not gonna go around saying, hey, the whole world must be smaller. No, do you know what I mean? It's like, and this is what, like, if people, and that person, at least he can say he was born like that. It's not his fault. Anyway, I'll be in trouble. No, but as in, okay, okay, let me rephrase that. He hasn't consciously decided to. He hasn't made any conscious decision to do anything. So whereas this person who's fluid, or they may say they don't want to be fluid, that's just the way I am, cool. But there is still some consciousness within that. Yeah. You've made decisions that have led you to the actions that you are.
It's the audacity for me, man. It's the audacity, it's the cheek, it's the gall to think that you can
the vigor.
Just it's not only now that we have to be inclusive, but now we have to. What's annoying me is now the fact that it's not just that we have to be inclusive. You're now asking something of me as well. You're now trying to force it upon me. I can't see on the road what I believe to be a man or a woman and assume that you are a man or a woman, I have to ask you, or have to use a pronoun that's unisex or whatever.
If I walked out of my house in a wig, wig and high heels and a dress, and then someone behind me said, "Excuse me, miss," why would I be offended? I look like a girl.
Yeah.
What, like, do you know what I mean? Like, what? Why is that? Like, is it so big, man?
It's like you're asking for trouble.
Men look like. Ask a child when you want to offend. Think when it comes to things that are offensive. A lot of time, bring a child and say, little Sammy that's 3 years old. Is this like a man or woman? Or what does this look like to you? He'll say simple. So and they're not offending because they don't even know how to be offensive on purpose. So if you scale it back down, like people are just trying to twist what is natural. You know the word natural or the word traditional and think words like that are being turned into like curse words, but it's like allow it, man. Because you can't just make up a new thing, and then what annoys me, and this goes back to the primary school thing, is when they want to start imposing it on children. Because that's what they're trying to change the culture of humanity.
There was a TV show I watched. It was a TV show I was with my family a while ago, and I can't remember what the TV show was called, but they were pitting different parenting styles against each other. So you had just the traditional parenting, then you had something called parent-centric so the child's life revolves around the mum. That's parent-centric. I can't remember the other names, but then you had parents where the children made all the decisions. You don't make decisions for the children. If the children want to eat, if you have 3 different children and child 1 wants to eat potatoes, this one wants to eat
basically just give
egg,
what
you have to give them what they want. And then there was this single parent. She was a woman. She was a single mum, and she had a boy, but her parenting style was, I can't remember what she called it, but basically she was raising her son as a girl. And she was claiming that there's no boundaries, so it's like he can explore whatever side he wants. But this is a child, and you've clearly made this decision for him. And you're trying to make it sound like he's made the decision himself. So it's not like...
How old is the child?
He was maybe like 3 or 4 years old.
That basketball player.
The boy has long hair.
What's that basketball player that is raising his daughter to be a son to be a daughter?
I don't think he's raising her to be a daughter. I think
what are you gonna say?
She's chosen to be.
She's chosen at the age of 10 or whatever it was.
No, but do you know where he fumbled?
I don't know, man.
Do you know where he fumbled?
I don't even want to get into that, but yeah.
Just on that quickly. Why I'd say he fumbled is because he took it to social media, and then now he's basically, like, from what I gathered when I heard the story, I can tell this isn't the man who's burning inside, but because of this, like, because of society, he's like almost like he has to, which is not true, and he's a fish. But anyway,
so it's like you've clearly made this decision for him. It's not like he's saying, like, maybe he's playing with an action figure or something, and he's saying, "No, mum, I'd like to paint my nails." You're saying to him, "Should we go and paint our nails?" And he's not gonna say no. He's a little boy. So it's like you've clearly made this decision for him, and it's like it's so selfish because you clearly wanted a daughter. You clearly wanted a girl.
That's all. You know that's
clearly wanted a girl.
But imagine, you know that I don't see how that's not illegal. Because you know what, even forget, like, because even forget it's 100% child abuse. Because even forget the whole forget like the raising as a girl aspect of it. Yeah. You are purposely putting your child in a situation where they're. So remember what I said about social norms and like society, and just how society is. This boy is going to be, he's a boy. This boy is going to be like, let's say he grows up and he continues on this woman thing, or he's either going to be very confused, or he's going to grow up being a girl that identifies as a boy, or whatever, boy that identifies as a girl. May have to go through, if he gets there, hopefully not, but may have to go through surgery, all that stuff. May have to just deal with the fact that you're gonna be a transgender or whatever the term is, and you're not gonna be Like if you're going to be at a disadvantage in society. It's going to be harder for you to make friends.
Like,
it's going to be all of that kind of stuff. It's just so
like confusing, and it's so
you
bad.
put him on this
like,
track in this trail of on this path of just a difficult life, an unnecessarily difficult life, for no reason. And the thing is, God forbid, but this person could be depressed or confused or whatever when they're 40 years old. You're old and demented now, and you're not dealing with the consequences of the nonsense
This is one thing I can't jump on board with people saying that their kids are making this decision, because they're not. They're not making these decisions. You're pushing them in that direction. I think Megan Fox, the model, I think she has a son.
Is that the one that's in that Transformers and that?
Yes. Yeah. And I think she said something about she allows her son to wear whatever he wants. So we've seen him out in like a skirt or something, and it's like
these people are.
He hasn't woken up and said, "Mum, I'd like to wear a skirt today." You've pushed him in that direction, whether it was slightly, whether you physically told him,
and even
you've done something to influence him. He didn't wake up and say, "Mum, I want a skirt."
And even still, if he's woken up, like, did you tell him?
It's okay to wear a skirt.
Boys normally wear trousers. And people, and apparently somehow that's become an issue.
Sometimes I think it's mad to say I don't want my kids around other people's kids, but this is one of the key scenarios where I'm like, if I see my kid playing with your kid, you know when you watch them news and you see that white lady pulling her kid away from the other kids, that's gonna be me. Like, I don't want my kids around your kids because you're all tapped. You're all tapped. It's ridiculous. Humans are fickle. I don't know how you can't make the distinction between a man and a woman. A man can get big. A man has testosterone. A woman cannot get big. No matter how much protein shakes she drinks, no matter how much she does, for her to get as big, even to a tiny bit as big as a man, she would have to take steroids or something, and even then she'll never get.
Let me rephrase that.
That's just one example.
There's actually quite a prominent case of
the runner.
Yeah, Casa Semenya.
Yeah. But the thing is, but what she is that's a woman with naturally.
But again, as you said, that's an anomaly.
Which happens, innit? But then that's not exactly as I said.
And then on top, she's being persecuted for that, bruv.
Yeah, but that's not fair.
This is what I'm saying. If we're in this age of inclusivity, she's been persecuted
but
for that.
if I'm the person that comes second place to Casa Semenya every time, and I'm a woman, I'll be fuming.
It's
like, who's this man fishing? No, I can understand why. That's one of those things. Yeah, this is a case where I can fully understand. That's the thing in society. Yeah, there's a difference between, and this is where the lines blur. You can understand something, but it doesn't mean that you have to. Like, life's not fair, and you can't just manipulate the world to whatever. Because if I'm the woman who comes second place here, I am fuming. Yeah, but it's the same way. Like, if I'm in let's say me, 5'10", 11, yeah. I'm developed, yeah. And I'm like, I want to be a basketballer, and I'm sick. I train, yeah. And I go to I don't know, tryouts or whatever. I go play college ball or whatever, and there's some dead basketballer who's 7'9", yeah. Just, what can I do? Can I say, what? No, everybody has to cut their leg, bruv. Life is like that, innit? So if you're that woman, sorry, she's got more testosterone, yeah, cool, but she's not a man in it. She's a woman. Sorry,
she can have children.
Because the thing is that I don't even. I haven't looked into that case, but what's the outcome? What are they trying to get to?
I think they're trying to say that she shouldn't be able to compete as a woman because she has a norm. They
so
want to
test.
They're saying that what they're trying to do is say that her testosterone levels. I hope I'm not wrong, but basically her testosterone levels are not what's normal for a woman, for what's classified as a woman. However, unfortunately, a woman isn't what her testosterone levels are in the test strip. A woman is.
That doesn't make sense. So what? When women go to compete now, do they test their testosterone levels? Exactly.
That's
just silly.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. So this is a symptom of the world becoming a place where people think that you can bend and manipulate every single situation in life, and there's no things that are just normal.
Yeah.
Is what, isn't it? So, like, some people have to work harder than others to get the same thing, innit? That's just, it is what it is, isn't it? That's life.
We see the double standards anyway with the whole Katie Hopkins and alike and the whole hate speech thing.
Yeah.
Hate speech is not hate speech until it fits the agenda. And it's as simple as that.
That's what I was saying.
No, that's fair.
It's you know, if you're on the protected list, so like, let's say black people, black people. I feel like what society does is it's almost like they make black people think they're on the protected list, and black people are on the protected list maybe for for a month or two, and then they're off it.
We're not on the protected.
I don't think they've
And do you know how no, but do you know what I was gonna say? Black people, but what is black people aren't on the protected list? What black people are is more on this protecting ourselves thing than before. So like you're really on the protective list here when if someone says something and everybody can be comfortable that, for example, let's say if I bring it to the Jewish community, for example, I don't believe that nobody outwardly Jewish has to come out and condemn somebody saying something anti-Semitic for something to happen. Whereas if nobody ever, the only reason that anything ever happens to people when they say anything about black people, I think, is because of people being, they can't be bothered to deal with the backlash from the black people, so they take an action. Whereas with the Jewish people, nobody, like, no one says, oh, if we don't sack this, if we don't get rid of Wiley, then the Jewish people are going to start, then the rabbis are going to come out and start making noise. And do you know what I mean? No one's really concerned about that, innit? But still, things get done, innit? That's when you're really on the protected list.
You're also forgetting that when you compare Jews to black, Jews have a lot of
history.
They have a lot of history, and we have a lot of history.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But they have a lot of hands in high sectors or high pillars of society, as in they have a lot of higher ups, whereas we don't really have that.
Remember what we were saying about the powers that be. This is what we're saying. But go on. Yeah.
Whereas black people, what it is recently, let's say the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, what other people have realized, what other communities have realized, is that black people have a culture, or not black people have a culture, but black people, they like, I don't want to say it's black culture, because hip hop is not, that's a whole another discussion. That's not black culture. That's just, well, from my point of view, that's just something it's
urban black culture. Hip hop is urban black culture, which is what I say. There's a difference.
Say that, but that's a whole other discussion. But what people have realized is that they can profit off so-called black culture, which is why when it comes to recently it's come to all these things. A lot of time when you hear about black campaigns and whatever, it's usually based around a company that can in some way or shape or form profit off the situation. If you deep it, there's rarely cases where there's a campaign for black people or that puts black people in a positive light that isn't profiting off the situation.
And black people obviously being very big consumers, in it. So when it comes to protect, that's why a lot of the time I feel it's places where people, with companies or businesses or sectors that people spend money in. So like entertainment, blah blah blah. That's when they'll come out and do Black Lives Matter and that because they're trying to protect they want black people to. They don't want black people to not associate with them because black people spend money in it.
If that wasn't the case, you really think they would be making noise like that? No, we'll still be left to our own devices.
Do you know one question that I've been thinking, and just off of black culture? One question that I've been wanting to ask for a while is where is the line between appreciating a culture
and pandering
and cultural appropriation? Where's the line?
Okay.
Because from what I see on, let's say, from what I see on social media nowadays is that can bend very, very easily, depending on the public, depending on who it is, the public perception of that person. Do the public like this person? They dislike this person, and they can bend very, very easily. I'll give a very, very brief example.
They're gonna mention our braids.
Yeah. So let's say Kim Kardashian can do braids. Public outrage. You're appropriating our culture, but then on the flip side, somebody who was it recently? I think it was Adele.
Yeah.
Can do Bantu knots, and that's fine.
No.
There was backlash.
Yeah.
There was backlash, but there were also
on the whole, most people defending her.
There were also a lot of black people defending her. Okay. There were a lot of black people defending her, and it was like, but when X did that, why was it a problem when she did it? But when Adele did it, it isn't. So it's like it bends very, very
I
easily.
don't really care that much either way. But what I'd say with that, yeah. For example, correct me if I'm wrong. Adele was from Enns?
Yeah, North London, I think, Tottenham.
Yeah. So even just then already, that's part, because that's the thing. So
remember.
So this the one thing, yeah, that I think people do,
doesn't change,
and they do. And remember, it's like when they said black culture, yeah, black culture is black culture. The us in London cannot be saying anything, are not any kind of power or stakeholders when it comes to black culture. We're not even in Africa. Or Caribbean. So like black. So what people think when they say black culture, what they mean is urban black culture for African Americans / second, third generation black British. That's what they mean. And that's the culture that's the culture that's heavily influenced us. That's why we say a lot of the words we say. That's where hip hop does have an influence in this, because a lot of the words, and then that's where jamming, and that's where that culture is known as black because of a lot of the influence, either indirectly or indirectly, or the people within the culture are black. But there are a lot of white people in the culture as well. And the issue is, so you know when you had that my man that said my man that had I shouldn't be eating banana. Shout out, man. Huh?
Nothing on.
Shout out to Abdi, man. The reason why, like, there was my man who made the what was it? He said, I think he was a white guy, but then on Twitter he had bare anti colorist banner. I think he did. I think he's a rapper, but I don't know if he's a rapper. I think he had a freestyle. Yeah, he did, because I've heard it, and he spoke Yoruba in it.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. But he's a white guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said something about on his Twitter, they searched back and it was bare like colorist, blah blah blah.
About black women.
The thing about something like him, yeah. So this is something that
I think I heard about this in a podcast, and he mentioned Tiwa Savage. Did he?
I don't know who Tiwa Savage is.
No, I don't know who Tiwa Savage is as well, but he mentioned Tiwa. Is this the one where he said something and he rapped in Yoruba or whatever?
Yeah, he rapped.
Tiwa Savage.
I just know he rapped in Yoruba, innit? And I think that's the same thing. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and he's somebody who is, and nobody can deny this, is part of what a lot of people will say is the black culture, but what isn't actually the black culture is something that he's a part of. But that's why you need to distinguish and say it's not the black culture. It's the urban black,
okay.
whatever, what I mentioned before, culture. And when people are part of that, when you say that's black culture, that is why you get outraged when someone does something like that. Set aside the fact that he's white and you shouldn't be saying things about black people as a white person, because that's just stupid. Take away that. That's why he feels empowered to do that, isn't it? Because he's part of that culture. He is part. But when you try to make this culture and call it black culture, then it means it's gonna cause you into these type of problems, because someone like Adele, for example, is probably within this urban black culture, and Jamie probably has a lot of black friends. Probably grew up with probably went to a school where there was maybe even mostly black people. She's part of that thing, so of course she's gonna be, empowered, and that's why people will defend her and blah 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 blah. But the only thing is, you need to. The issue isn't with people defending her. The issue is when people start labeling the things that we do and as being black culture.
To be honest, I just think just keep the energy consistent.
When it comes to cultural appropriation,
that's my issue. Like you said in the beginning, I don't really care about either. It doesn't affect me at all.
No. The Twitter and Instagram have a thing of making it seem like the people who speak the loudest speak for everybody.
Yeah, it's just to be honest, it's just from the outside looking in, because I don't comment on these topics. I don't. Talk
but if we're getting into it a bit, the Kim Kardashian thing, yeah. The reason why she would probably, so that if you look at.
No, I understand. I
understand why people get annoyed.
I do. I get it. It's just when it comes to specific issues like that was a prime example for me. It was the hairstyle. was a hairstyle. It was when one person did it, it's a problem, but when someone else did it that you like, it's different. So it's just like don't It's like don't bend the rules just because you like somebody and you don't like somebody else. The rules shouldn't change based on who you like. Yeah. If you want to make up a rule, whatever. If you want to make up a rule, be consistent. Don't.
Because if I bring it back to the Kim Kardashian thing, for example, like Kim Kardashian, I'm sure she will feel that she's part of, in some ways, this same culture that we're speaking of. Okay. You know, she's married to Kanye West. She is, isn't it? Yeah. She's married. Like she maybe listens to hip hop music and R&B, all this type of stuff. Maybe she has lots of black friends. Cool. But based on this urban black culture, to me the entry level is so low. Like it's like you don't have to. There's not much you have to do to be a part of it, in my opinion. Yeah. But what it is that with her, where she may have gone wrong, I think probably is the fact that in a lot of things that are basically, when it comes to her energy is probably not, or maybe not consistent. So when it comes to a lot of her business, a lot of the things she's doing, how is she
benefiting
that same culture that she's talking about, that she subscribes to? Apart from getting married to somebody and blah, blah, blah. And when it comes to publicizing, because do you know what I mean? Because so I guess that's why. So like as a black guy in South London, like it's not my job, and this is why I'm not to be outraged at Kim Kardashian. But let's say me as a black hairstylist or black designer or something within this same culture, then maybe I'd understand why she would be a bit more annoyed, it's my job to understand her, this black girl's a hairstylist in Peckham, and maybe sympathise with her complaints. But it's no one's job to be shooting off their mouth on Twitter and blah blah blah, because you're just giving her more publicity, and that's what she wants, innit?
We don't have to talk about this. This is just an example I gave. It's just an example. Like I said, it's just from the outside. It's the outside looking in, because I don't really care. It's just it was something when it happened. I was thinking about it, and I thought, and I was thinking about it, and it just came to mind when Dilla said the black culture thing again. It's just like, black people we can be very fickle as well. Black people, I was just gonna say, we can be very, very fickle, and it's just
all of that. You're invited to the cookout stuff.
Yeah, we're not.
Sometimes we just get angry.
I think as a community as well, we don't look at ourselves enough as well, and this is why some people can always be very, very quick to play the race card and just shout racism at anything that you don't necessarily like.
And when it comes to the social media thing, there's a mob mentality where it's like, okay, this happened to me, I'm gonna say it's this, and then I'm gonna go and MySpace,
and we'll jump on the bandwagon so quickly. This is what happened with the
and I'm gonna call the mob.
I'm saying the Demba Bar thing, but it wasn't the Demba Bar thing, and it was like, we spoke about this in the chat, and how what happened wasn't actually racist.
Do you know what it is with that?
By saying, "Hey, you black man."
No, that's not what he said.
Okay, because that's what I heard. I didn't really care, so I didn't really look into it.
It's a
from the clip that I saw.
It's a controversial one because
I didn't really hear much.
All right, so what happened was one of the. This is a mad tangent, but we'll stick with it.
Because I watched the clip, but I didn't really get anything.
So what happened was, so the person that was identified as a black person he was a coach on a Turkish team. And I think he had done something on the pitch, and the referee wanted to send him off. So the referee, I guess, didn't know his name and wanted to know identify who was. And
is he the only black guy?
And the fourth official said, the black guy, and the word for black guy in Romanian is negru. So obviously, the coach on the bench heard hold on. The coach on the bench heard the word negro and went off. He said, "Why did you say negro? Why did you?" And he kept on shouting that. Why did you say negro?
The coach or
no, he's in the coach.
It was the coach.
Okay.
He was shouting, "Why did you say negro? Why did you say negro?" So I feel like he just heard the word negro, not knowing what that in Romanian it means, the black guy, and just went off.
Black guy, black man.
Okay, so I can't blame Demba for
it's ignorant.
Forgetting
it's ignorant. There's no argument about that. But the argument is that is it racist? Because from what
actually happened,
from what someone
it's not racist. But
from what someone pointed out is that the rest of the team, they're all white, and he's the only black coach. Man, so the Romanian guy said the black guy, which is an identifier. So it is ignorant, but whether it's racist or not is a topic of conversation.
Do you know what?
Let's not say that we're in a right.
And it's like because he was so outraged by it, I feel like the rest of the team kind of felt an obligation to be like, right, if he's upset about this, we kind of have to match his energy.
Which I think is right, by the way.
Yeah. You think is?
I think that aspect of it is right for the fact that I believe what that did, and I think is a positive outcome. Maybe the negative you'd say is maybe if the official, if he wasn't trying to be racist or whatever, maybe he's gonna get punished or blah blah blah. It's gonna be negative implication on him. But as overall, in terms of for the movement of people taking
against racism,
standing against racism.
That's fine. That's fair.
Because you know with that, yeah, for me, it's
for
like
the image of the team, it was important.
With that, it's a very, very hard. This is one of those situations here, and they arise where something could be, and we'll never really know, to be honest, if this man is a racist based on that, because it could be covert racism. And I think I said it. I think in the chat I said maybe racist, maybe ignorant, definitely.
And but you're playing on a field. Surely he knew the name.
No, it's not. He's not a player. It was a coach.
That was another thing as well.
Because no one knows, as in no one knows his name, innit? It's not.
Did you see what the other guy tweeted about how the night before a game, like each official was handed like a pack with all of the players' names and the coach's name. So, but then also at the same time to ask a coach to memorize every single name is also, it might be a tall order.
Because the reason I'll say it's like I can't confirm, because if I think of another example, say I'm on the bench, cool, I'm that linesman, and I'm in England, and then there's bare people in the room, like let's say it's all black, we're all black. I can imagine myself saying the light skin one. I can imagine myself saying the ginger one. I can imagine myself saying the one with it, which is what people say.
But you can't get angry at them.
And this is the thing.
He's in a right to react the way he is personally.
And being in that situation,
because when you've heard the word negro, you react first. You don't.
Well,
and this is what I'm saying. I feel like he just reacted first, and then
I don't think I'm the type of person that generally, unless it's clear, will react. I don't think that's not in my nature. But I can understand why people. I can understand why he reacted like that as well. But okay, fine, he's reacted like that in the moment. But now, okay, after the situation has happened, we have something that he didn't have, and that's hindsight.
Yes.
So like after exactly what you were saying about being in a room with a bunch of people and you using race to identify somebody, this is what Michael Richards was saying, and people were getting onto him for it. And I was like, what he's saying, it makes sense though, and it's just like, because he's black, he can't say that it's not racist.
Do you know? No, but wait.
He has to back black people. This is what I was.
But I don't think we should be attacked. He should be attacked for it. But what I do think, if I'm in that situation, for example, what I would do in that situation is, if you're not sure, if you're it's not even not comment. If you're a black person, one of the few black people on the media full of white people, your job is to make sure that you do not arm the white people with any more reason to not respect racism, which is why I think he went wrong. Okay. So what Michael Richards should have said was something along what I would advise him to, what he should have said was something along the lines of, yes, we can't confirm that it's racist, but this is the type of thing that can be done. This can be racist covertly, and at the very least, he's been ignorant, and he should do his due diligence. He should understand that we're in the climate of black people, blah, 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 and I think it's good. And what he should do is turn the focus on. He should, do you know what I mean? Because like.
What?
Because black people, they love doing this on the media, you know. They go in the media and they fold.
Yeah.
They move like they're dumb. Like, you're not dumb, but you move dumb. Like, so like, this is your opportunity. And they crumble. Yeah. So he crumbled, innit? That's what I think.
Okay, that's fine as well.
Which is understandable. He's got a job to
I might be slow, but just to confirm. So what happened was, the coach wanted to single out Demba Ba.
No, the fourth official, one of the refs.
Yes.
He
wanted to single out the coach.
He identified the coach that was being carded as the black guy. That's what he said. So it wasn't Demba Ba. Demba Ba was obviously, he's on the team as well. He's
like he's the senior figure. He's the senior figure, like the lead player.
He was upset about it as well, and he went to talk to this coach specifically.
And and a lot of what he said was, why did you have to identify him as the black guy?
I don't care, man. I don't care. You can't do that.
Can't do what?
You can't identify a man as the black man. I don't care if he's the only black person there, whatever. Because how many coaches are there? I don't care. You've got the fact. That's your responsibility. If you can't identify a man by his name and you forgot, ask. If you can't ask, you haven't got time to ask. Identify him by another way. I don't care if it's the color of his shoes.
This is when we're not in disagreement, but this is what we said, that yes, it was 100%, it was ignorant.
Let's think about it as Muslims. So as Muslims, you see someone, you're not allowed to say the short man.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say the man with the wonky nose.
But the thing is, but what, like, I think this is what Tess was saying, that it's like, yeah, but then why are you equating blackness? By doing that, not equating blackness to being something negative?
Yeah.
Because if black is something amazing, so for example, if so let's say, for example, we have like, for example, so are you not allowed to say, yeah, the brother with a fresh trim? Because no one's gonna have a problem with that, innit?
Yeah, but that's a good attribute.
So it's black.
Exactly. No. So why is black seen as a bad attribute? Is what he says.
Because you're singling man out based on something that is perceived to be negative.
Why is it perceived to be negative?
Because the reason why it's perceived to be negative is because of the history and where that comes from and how the ops. So I'm gonna call them the ops because I'm not gonna say the white people, because not all white people do this. How the ops. If they were to do something, they would do that. Does that make sense?
So they're making sense. There's two layers to this here. So there's the as black people, should we not be, empowering the word black?
KKK is not gonna chase man down and say which one is it? Or is the guy with the fresh trim? They're not gonna say that.
Yeah. So like, it's like, are we the two layers? Is it like, should black people be empowering themselves to make the word black not something negative and black's positive and blah blah blah? But that's one thing, or not. But as in, should we do our own effort and to do that? And the second thing,
black is already a positive thing in our thing. Is for it to be made.
Not always. I don't think so. Always.
Well, to us.
How many times have you heard? Like, even I heard this on something. I'm not gonna go here anymore. There's too many black people, man. Black people.
Yeah, that's them. That's their own issue.
No, but people do it. Like, people do it.
Yeah, that's their own problem.
No, but it's you can't. That's a prominent narrative that's in our community. Yeah. But quickly, let me just say the other aspect of it. Yeah, the second one is the fact that, like, you can weaponize something, and this, I think, was one of my responses to Tess. Yeah. We're gonna get on this pod soon, innit? Inshallah, because I know he wants to call up. When you attach something, normally when you want to say something, you can make something a negative when you attach it or use it in a context of negative. So in this example, it was, this coach is being irate. He's been misbehaving. He's been belligerent. He's not following the rules, and we're gonna discipline him. Yeah. So when you're disciplining him here, so in that context, he is who's been naughty, the black one. So you get me. So that is where. So and this is what my argument was, that, for example, to say, is saying silly woman sexist, and what I was meant to say was no, but then what I believe is that if you're talking about, let's say a woman comes home and then she's I don't know, acting like a scatterbrain, and then she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, my hormones are all over the place," and then I say, "Silly woman." I'm basically saying, in that she is a woman, yes, she's a woman, but I'm saying silly because of your womanness, because I'm equating, or what I would say, in my argument, that your
hormones being as a typical woman, that would be different to silly woman. But then again, if you say silly woman, naturally that comes from somewhere.
So for me, it's like, I don't necessarily believe that it's sexist. It's not even that I even agree with that. But somebody could
perceive it.
Be something like, if I wanted to make a sly jab at women, or let's say I was a sexist person, I could, use that in my head, thinking that see these women, silly women. Like, do you know what I mean? And that is the danger. Also, in this context, well, that's why context is everything. In this context, it's the coach being belligerent or not behaving. He's about to be sent off. He's being negative. He's been disciplined here because he's broken the rules. And he said, which one? The black one. The black one's the one who's been so. And I'm not saying it's not necessarily that I agree with this, but this could be the mindset of the person, and we will never know this, innit? This is all just speculation. This is why I can understand people getting irate, and this is where, and there's more for this tone. Everything comes into it.
Like I said, I don't have a problem with people being upset about it, because again, like I said, it's ignorant. It's just the reason I brought up the Michael Richards thing as well is just because it was just like, as soon as racism.
Just quickly, who's Michael Richards, by the way, in case people don't know.
Huh?
In case people don't know who's Michael Richards.
Oh, he was a former football player who's now a pundit.
Yeah, so he speaks on like after football matches. Yeah.
Sports, yeah,
and he's black.
Yeah,
I'm from Manchester. Nice, it's simple context, isn't it? Obviously.
The reason what I wasn't happy about is because, like, as soon as racism is mentioned in these kind of issues, it's just like, okay, racism. We don't want to hear anything else. We don't want to hear any counter arguments. We don't want to hear nothing. It's racist. Racist. We don't care about context. We don't nothing. It was racist.
Judge, jury, and execution.
That's it. Done and dusted. Yeah. So it was just like, when that clip came out, despite the fact that what he was saying made sense, it was just like, no, we've already decided it's racism. You can't say anything else.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it. Just doesn't agree with our narrative. So
that's what, and that's what I don't like. We have this inability to look at ourselves and reflect on situations when it comes to issues that we are not happy about.
But the thing is, I'm all for reflection, yeah. But so see that the way that certain communities, like the homosexual community, the Jewish community, women or feminists in certain aspects, they run a tight ship, in that a lot of it is ask questions later. So you don't get to do explanation and press conference and different point of view when it comes to certain things. They you just keep it out your mouth, innit? Just pim, hush. Do you think that, like, would you like the black community to run that way? Because there's a lot of people that would, because it's like, if these people aren't going to respect us, or they're not going to treat us properly, or they're not, like, we're going to be persecuted, victimized, blah blah blah, all that stuff, then my response to that is, I want the word black or blackness to be so precious that people won't even dare say it in a way that could be perceived negative. So do you know what I mean? Because if the man had a little, do you know, I don't know what it's called, or let's say he had a hat and the curly sideburn thing that the Jewish people have, yeah.
I was just gonna say,
would he say
would he have said
the Jewish because man them are on shaking it. So I'm not sure that I don't necessarily want to live in a world where everything is so precious. To me, there's certain things that are precious. And something like religion
that in 2 years' time will be.
Yeah, I'm not, the whole politically correct thing is me, because I'm a person. I like to laugh. I like satire. I like being able to poke fun at certain things. Certain things shouldn't be poked fun at, like religion, for example. My religion anyway shouldn't be poked fun at. Cool. So I understand that, but then there's certain.
You're joking, by the way. You're joking, by the way.
What you say, my religion?
No, for like, so like, do you know, have you seen that South Africa, like book, like the Mormon one? I think that's better.
What?
But Mormonism. Yeah. Like, I've seen some stuff around that. That's just funny, innit? I can't lie, and a lot of people laugh at it. But like, so let's say but to caveat that, if I live in a world where religion is sacred, like obviously I will respect that, innit?
Yeah.
But it's so cool. So yeah. So in the world, I wouldn't like to live in a world where every single thing is so politically correct, because I like banter, innit? Cool. Yeah. I'm on banter. So I wouldn't want to live in that world. But that's the idealistic world, and if that's not going to be possible, if the only way we're going to get respect for the black community is going to be that people just have to be zero tolerant, and you're just not allowed to make banter when it comes to, or other people aren't allowed to make banter from outside the community about black people, blah blah blah, then maybe that's what we just have to, because a lot of people they're so fed up that they've taken this stance. So that's where
No, I agree with what you said, but I don't agree that people should be able to banter the black community.
No,
not in the black community.
No,
that's just an example.
But the thing is, it's very hard to get the middle ground. Is almost
because you can't banter
once you start
people
being
have been through for several generations.
Once you start being
people that are being, you need to people need to understand. People need to understand that we don't have the same. We face different things compared to other people. We have not been blessed with the same privilege that other communities have been blessed with. So for you to just make light-hearted jokes about stuff we've been through, it's not.
Black people do that though.
We can do it about it because we understand. We've been through the struggle.
No, but that's the thing. But remember what we was in the beginning. This black urban whatever culture has been become so intertwined with just popular culture. Also, we have to we got cause it's back to back bookings in it, so we have to go on time. Because black culture has become so intertwined with normal culture. It's a lot of people feel like they're kind of stakeholders. So, and black people enjoy that in a lot of aspects. Black people celebrate this, in a lot of ways, and black people are very inclusive. And I think it's just part of being that is black, and to forget the urbanness, blackness. Africa culture is to be very inclusive, is to be family, is to be everybody's welcome, everybody come and eat, accommodating, innit? But then the bad thing about this, and this when you're accommodating, when you're not anti anything, there's a lot of the people will say, historians will say, this is kind of how we're so susceptible to being slaves, that people are going to take the mick. So you can't have a middle ground. But I know black people want the middle ground, but it's very difficult.
I think
and people are starting to move over to that militant side where it's just like, you know what, forget it. No one should say anything, because if you say anything, we're coming for you.
Answer your question, I guess, to try and wrap up.
This is last point. Yeah, this is last point.
I got one more point.
I don't know, man. I don't think we should ever strive to kind of live in a world where we can't reflect on things. I don't agree with that standpoint at all.
In-house reflection, maybe not outside reflecting to the world.
That's fine, but then if you're reflecting in-house, it's gonna affect what you say outside, and the way people talk outside shows that there's no in-house reflection, and that's what I don't like. I don't like disunity. I don't like people that don't reflect on their actions at all. It's just, if this is the narrative we're gonna run with, we're gonna run with that to the ends of the earth, and we can't hear any other counter arguments. I don't like that.
To the last one.
Yeah.
Right, I was just going to mention 2 points just to round it off. The first one is, as black people, I do think we need to stop glorifying and getting angry over and trying to claim, let's say, popular culture. Let's say that, I don't know, we maybe had a part to play in that, that other people are culturally appropriating it or whatever. Stuff like, I don't know, even silly stuff like drill and whatever. This is not stuff we're meant to be proud of. And then second thing, lastly, I want to mention was in regards to bringing it back to Muslims, there's a lot of stuff going on where people, they start to take their religion seriously and they almost lose their identity. So it's like, man's Muslim now. Man can't speak Arabic, but man's saying yani 24/7. Not that it's a bad thing, but like it's. Are you saying it for the right reasons? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But do you get what I'm trying to get?
I know.
Get here. They lose their identity. Yes, you're Muslim. You're Muslim first, but at the end of the day, you've come from somewhere.
Yeah,
like you've got an identity.
Islam is aware of the fact that people come from different tribes and different, and it doesn't mean that they 100%. can't go together as long as Islam prevails.
Just because you're taking a religion seriously doesn't mean you have to wear a phobe 24/7. You have to. Some people even go towards eating stuff and doing stuff from brown cultures, if that makes sense.
On that bombshell, welcome to Jollof After Jummah episode. What episode is this?
17.
17. I don't even know because we recorded. Yeah, 17. I think
17.
the 15 is 15 out on YouTube.
Yes.
15 on YouTube. Alright, we're taking a minute. Yeah. Welcome to Jollof After Jummah episode 17. Late intro. Obviously, follow the socials and all that. We're getting kicked out of the studio right now. We love you all. We'll see you on the flip side, man.